Hello, I'm Michael White. Today I'm going to be reading from the 7th grade science textbook from Chapter 1, Lesson 2, Thinking Like a Scientist. My Planet Diary. Incredible inventions. Most scientific inventions are purposefully created and result from curiosity, persistence, and years of hard work. However, some inventions have been accidentally discovered when their inventors were in the process of creating something else. While developing wallpaper cleaner, a type of clay was invented. A coil-shaped toy was originally designed as a spring to be used on ships. Instead of developing a substitute for synthetic rubber, toy putty was created. Self-stick notes, potato chips, and the hook and loop fasteners on items such as clothing, shoes, and toys are also inventions that were discovered by accident. Like the inventors of these items, your curiosity may help you invent the next big thing. What attitudes help you think scientifically? Perhaps someone has told you that you have a good attitude. What does that mean? An attitude is a state of mind. Your actions say a lot about your attitude. Scientists possess certain important attitudes, including curiosity, honesty, creativity, open-mindedness, skepticism, good ethics, and awareness of bias. Curiosity. One attitude that drives scientists is curiosity. Scientists want to learn more about the topics they study. Figure 1 shows some things that may spark the interest of scientists. Honesty. Good scientists always report their observations and results truthfully. Honesty is especially important when a scientist's results go against previous ideas or predictions. Creativity. Whatever they study, scientists may experience problems. Sometimes it takes creativity to find a solution. Creativity means coming up with inventive ways to solve problems or produce new things. Open-mindedness and skepticism. Scientists need to be open-minded, or capable of accepting new and different ideas. However, open-mindedness should always be balanced by skepticism, which is having an attitude of doubt. Skepticism keeps a scientist from accepting ideas that may be untrue. Ethics. Because scientists work with the natural world, they must be careful not to damage it. Scientists need a strong sense of ethics, which refers to the rules that enable people to know right from wrong. Scientists must consider all the effects their research may have on people and the environment. They make decisions only after considering the risks and benefits to living things or the environment. For example, scientists test medicine they have developed before the medicine is sold to the public. Scientists inform volunteers of the new medicine's risk before allowing them to take part in the test. Look at Figure 2 to review scientific attitudes. Awareness of bias. What scientists expect to find can influence or bias what they observe and how they interpret observations. For example, a scientist might misinterpret the behavior of an animal because of what she already knows about animals. There are different kinds of bias. Personal bias comes from a person's likes and dislikes. For instance, if you like the taste of a cereal, you might think everyone else should too. Cultural bias stems from the culture in which a person grows up. For example, a culture that regards snakes as bad might overlook how well snakes control pests. Experimental bias is a mistake in the design of an experiment that makes a particular result more likely. For example, suppose you wanted to determine the boiling point of pure water. If your experiment uses water that has some salt in it, your results would be biased. What is scientific reasoning? You use reasoning, or a logical way of thinking, when you solve word problems. Scientists use reasoning in their work too. Scientific reasoning requires a logical way of thinking based on gathering and evaluating evidence. There are two types of scientific reasoning. Scientific reasoning can be deductive or inductive. Because scientific reasoning relies on gathering and evaluating evidence, it is objective reasoning. Being objective means that you make decisions and draw conclusions based on available evidence. For example, scientists used to think chimps ate only plants. However, Jane Goodall observes chimps eating meat. Based on this evidence, she concluded that chimps ate meat and plants. In contrast, being subjective means that personal feelings have entered into a decision or conclusion. Personal opinions, values, and tastes are subjective because they are based on your feelings about something. For example, if you see a clear stream in the woods, you might take a drink because you think clear water is clean. However, you have not objectively tested the water's quality. The water might contain microorganisms you cannot see and be unsafe to drink. Deductive reasoning. Scientists who study Earth think that the uppermost part of Earth's surface is made up of many sections they call plates. The theory of plate tectonics states that earthquakes should happen mostly where plates meet. There are many earthquakes in California. Therefore, California must be near a place where plates meet. This is an example of deductive reasoning. Deductive reasoning is a way to explain things in starting with a general idea and then applying the idea to a specific observation. You can think about deductive reasoning as being a process. First, you state the general idea. Then you relate the general idea to the specific case you are investigating. Then you reach a conclusion. You can see this process in Figure 3. The process for the plate tectonics example is shown here. Earthquakes should happen mostly where plates meet. California has many earthquakes. California must be near a place where plates meet. Inductive reasoning. Scientists also use inductive reasoning, which can be considered the opposite of deductive reasoning. Inductive reasoning uses specific observations to make generalizations. For example, suppose you notice that leafcutter ants appear to follow other ants along specific paths, as shown in Figure 4. The ants follow the paths to sources of food, water, and nest material. Then they return to their nest. These observations about the leafcutter ants are specific. From these specific observations, you conclude that these ants must communicate to be able to always follow the same path. This conclusion is a generalization about the behavior of leafcutter ants based on your observations. Scientists frequently use inductive reasoning. They collect data and then reach a conclusion based on that data. Faulty reasoning. Scientists must be careful not to use faulty reasoning because it can lead to faulty conclusions. If you draw a conclusion based on too little data, your reasoning might lead you to the wrong general idea. For example, to conclude accurately that all ants communicate with each other, you would have to observe leafcutter ants and many other kinds of ants many times. In addition, based on observations of how leafcutter ants follow paths, you cannot conclude how they communicated. For example, you cannot say they follow the tiny footprints of the ants ahead of them. Such a conclusion would be a guess, not based on observation. That is the end of Lesson 2.